How about now? Can you hear me now? God, this thing's been doing this lately. Any sound at all? Can you guys hear? All good? Okay. All Gucci now. Okay, perfect. There we go. I just had to unplug it and plug it back in. All right. Okay, so there's probably going to be some more people. We're just 1 minute after. There's probably going to be some more people that'll straggle in here after a while. But anyway, just wanted to say thanks for you guys coming in. Obviously, we're going to talk about what's going on with the coronavirus and the stock market and Bitcoin, and we got a lot of stuff to go over. So I've got CryptoChartsJoe here with me, and Joe does an excellent job with just a lot of stuff. I mean, he's been pretty spot on with everything, and so it's a pleasure having him in here. So with that said, Joe, I'm going to let you. Oh, you know what you may want to do, Joe? You may want to change your pointer focus to black.
Okay.
I can do it. Yeah, you got it?
Well, or you can do it.
I may be able to do it. Let's see. Is that what's open right now?
Well, I minimized it, so I don't know if it's over.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, there you go. Let's see here. Let me do this. Was that it? Oops. Let's see.
No, here it is right
Okay,
here.
there you go.
Options.
Oh, there we go. And then we'll change that to black. Yeah, there you go.
I guess right here. Let me see if that.
Yep, I think I got it for you. There you go.
Oh, okay, good. Okay.
I think so. Let's see. Let me click that. Yep, there we go. Okay. And then there you go. Minimize that. There you go. All right, guys. So I'm gonna let Joe start off here. And basically, what we're looking at right now is the NDX. Basically, that's the NASDAQ. So we're going to go over a couple of charts and just kind of show you, we'll look at monthly, weekly, daily, the carnage of this whole thing. So, Joe, it's all yours, buddy. Take over.
Oh, I appreciate it, JR. Yeah, we're looking at the NASDAQ. The reason being, this is actually a NASDAQ 100 index, and it's a top 100 large cap companies that trades on the NASDAQ. And the reason being is that generally this is a front runner, kind of a top indicator for market direction if you watch, the NASDAQ 100, okay? And because it's generally going to let you know ahead of time a little bit what the potential market direction is going to be. And one of the things I was going to talk about here just for a second is that, and as we go through all these charts just real quick, because some people are interested in the overall broad markets, some are just interested in crypto, so we'll just make this short and sweet. But this is the monthly chart for the new people. Each candle here is 1 month of price action, and already we're trading down here. If you look over to the left, back into February of 2019, and on some of these charts, the Dow Jones and stuff, we're back into like 2016.
Mm-hmm.
So we've taken a few years off the markets, in a very relatively short period of time. But what I'm trying to get at here with all charts, cryptos, stocks, any asset, if you start getting an extended, price range above the 200, it'll always stay there, for a short period of time. As you see here, we have, this is bigger than a normal extended range above here. And then also the 22, the 20, getting above the 200, I can only stay above there, so long, and then it starts pulling back. But I don't know if we're going to come down here and hit the 200, or where the next stop is. But let's go to let's go back to the weekly on this thing, and you can start seeing the cracks here. And a market doesn't fall apart overnight, even though it looks like it has.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of indications here, and I think you were even talking about forever. You were talking about how overextended we were and just, price, to a ridiculous amount on a lot of those stocks and just the S&P, et cetera. And as you can see here, we were way overextended above the 20. Whenever that happens, you're going to come down into it. But this time, we couldn't just bounce. We actually came through it. And on the weekly, we've come close to the 200 here. Mm-hmm. And then on the daily, we crashed through both. And now we're trying to find, and the charts are so sporadic, to be honest with you, on the daily that this is not a good omen here, because today we had all that money pumped into the markets, and the top 100 companies in the nation, or on the NASDAQ anyway, they didn't close at their highs or even close to it.
Yeah.
It was kind of, right about here in the middle, but right at or under last, Friday's candle here. That's the daily chart, which, I just doesn't look good for the rest of the week. And then talking about the virus, I hate to be bringing that up, but it's just the fact we have to deal with. I think a lot of this is because of that, because there's so much uncertainty. How's it, when's it going to end? How long is it going to last, et cetera, et cetera. Right. And I'll pound the table all day long and say that nothing is going to bounce or turn around or make it, or go up in price until we start seeing realistic, honest numbers of countries or cities or some entity out there having fewer and fewer cases. And it might take 2 or 3 weeks of several days of fewer and fewer cases. They have people, because not everybody's going to, wind this down at the same time, nor did it wind up all over the world at the same time. So this could be a, multi-month, multi-year situation that we're going through. But I think, at some point in time, if we start seeing, progress, especially in our country, okay, let me just get to the U.S., because it's, our markets and stuff. If we start seeing, cities making progress and fewer cases, fewer deaths, et cetera, and the hospitals not being overloaded and stuff, then I think that'll, start making people more positive, and they'll feel, more positive about getting back in the market. Because there's a lot of corporations out there that are very concerned. It's like every corporation out there has their hand out now, for some sort of
something. Yeah, they want a bailout or something like that. Yeah. And talking about the virus real quick, on my way home, I heard a report that said Italy for 2 straight days now has even though they're getting people infected, the number of infections has dropped 2 straight days. So, so some good news on that front. So good, and the market's going to pay attention to that, right? As long as number of infections is not increasing per day, the market's going to pay attention to that. And so, anyway, didn't mean to interrupt.
Right. No, that's a good point. I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad you got that from a reliable source. I was just, guessing that, at some point in time, hoping this and that would, be the case. But here's the Dow Jones that everybody looks at, and we're already down, into the 18, from nearly 30, a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. Here, well, more than a couple of weeks, about a month ago, really. But I had the fibs down here. It's just a guess if I even have them on there correctly. I just took it literally from the 2009 low, and this little line here kind of correlates with, high pivots, low pivots, all the way up through here. So I thought it was halfway, reliable. And then you have all these high pivots over here, the top blue line that might aid in price support would come down here and bump it. And then, I'd hate to think we roll over into here, these low pivots, double bottoms from way back in 15 and 16. And then your golden retraces at 0.618 here at, around, just over 15,000. And that's kind of scary.
Yeah.
But, this, and really we just started shutting things down, last week and beginning of this week.
Right.
Or the end of last, it hadn't been that long that we've been under this, not really quarantine, this kind of, self-isolation deal. And still, there's a number of states, number of cities all over the country that still haven't done it. They need to get a handle on that and get that, get people to do that. So what I'm getting at, so that we'll start seeing those positive numbers. And that's what we're going to need to turn this thing around. Now, let me go to the dollar. And I did it really wasn't clickbait, so that's why I want to get on here and if you don't mind, knock this out real quick so people don't think I was playing with them.
Yeah.
I put a post up about, the number one indicator and da-da-da-da, or one of them. Now, before I put it up, let me ask everybody, what was the true, and I think it still, plays into the game. Probably the number one reason for the cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, so on and so forth, is the fiat, because fiat, no matter what government, what type of fiat it is, majority of them just keep printing. And let's just talk about the dollar, because we all know about that. Because all this has been occurring in our country right now over the last few weeks, hundreds of thousands of billions and then trillions of dollars being pumped into the stock market. Just printing. We don't know. I don't think they know how many dollars are in circulation or how many, of any type of, U.S. note there are out there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's even getting watered down more and more every day. So at some point in time, it's going to be hyperinflation or they're going to have to switch to something else. I don't, there's people a whole lot smarter than me that know about that stuff. So what I'm getting at is that with all this influx into the market, trillions and trillions of dollars, do you see any rebound here in the Dow Jones? I don't see any, I don't see it yet. So I think it's going to take a combination of the virus turning around and the market turning around, to get things moving the other way. And how the market's going to turn around is when you take some of that insecurity, indecision, not knowing, what's around the corner tomorrow. People are literally being laid off left and right.
Yeah.
I mean, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and some other big bank came out and said, they think there could be up to a 30%
unemployment rate.
Number.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think they've had that. I don't think even in the Depression we had that.
No.
And
I just think really when you look at this, I mean, and I've always been, I recommend this book a lot. It's called Message of the Markets. But, when you look at something like this, and by all means, do not take this the wrong way, but this market has got so much technical damage to it, and especially over the long term. But I think here in the short term, I think we're going to see probably, it's going to be one of those, especially if the stimulus package gets passed, we're going to see a big, and I mean, it's going to be a vicious rally. But it's a rally that you sell into, right? This is not going to go away. This is, and not only that, but you pointed out, if you go look at the dollar currency itself, it's actually rising right now. I mean, against most major currencies.
That's what I was going to make the correlation there. Yeah.
And then not only that, but if you pull up a 10-year bond and start looking at it, because the government is buying bonds right now, right? I mean, bonds have pretty much dictated the Fed's move. They had to lower rates, obviously, when the 10 gets below 1% yield. It's just dictating their move. But at some point, that's going to start rising a lot. And it's going to, at some point when this thing turns around, rates are going to skyrocket. This could turn from, deflationary to mass inflation before you know it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we'll see. I mean, it just it's a very tricky game the Fed's playing right now, and at some point,
Well,
yeah.
this is what hit me over the weekend. Looking at the dollar and trying to put the pieces together, and we're coming up. And actually, we've hit it today.
Mm-hmm.
A double top here
Yeah.
in the dollar from 2016. Now, it didn't hit me until a few hours later when I took the chart down, and then I go, 2016, it was at its high. What was Bitcoin doing?
Yeah.
And 16 through really 18, January of 18, if you pull a chart of Bitcoin up, and this is the dollar,
Yeah.
from its all-time highs
Right.
down to pretty low. And then Bitcoin was on the opposite deal. Now, this is the oh my goodness, what if it does the same thing here? We're hitting all-time highs.
Uh-huh.
Is that going to be, is the trigger for Bitcoin now to take off? Or what's the trigger going to be? Do we have to pump up a little bit more? So I would say, I'm not going to say any second we could take off, but I don't know. It's, this is an indicator. This is what the aha moment I had over the weekend with this. But now I hadn't even shared this with the Patreon members because I didn't know, I didn't want to look too crazy. But now, I just couldn't. The more I think about it, the more I think it's a realistic deal because a double top from that 4 years, a spread of 4 years, that's a strong double top.
I agree. Absolutely. And I think what's probably going to end up happening as well is that you could see, along with, not just Bitcoin, right? But Bitcoin's going to be a major player, but gold is also going to be a major player. When you get super inflation, gold is going to be right there waiting. And with all this liquidity the Fed has pumped in, I mean, and once people start going back to work, oh my gosh, it's gonna get insane.
Yeah, so people got to make up for their investments, their 401ks, all that stuff too.
Oh yeah.
But see, here's the gold chart, even from back when we did the last live stream, and we broke out this bull flag, ran up, had a manipulated big pullback here because we hit, kind of a little double top over here, high pivot area, and we're just now getting on. We closed over. I'm thinking all this high pivot area. Then we dipped into it. It was all bought up. Then we finally rode over to the downside.
Yeah.
So this level right here, that 1561. I think once we get up to that, we're pretty close to it.
Yeah.
If we get a close up here above this blue dash line, a clear $1,500, gold, per ounce, I think, cryptos could take a run next because we were kind of following them for a while. And then silver, I don't know what, it's got caught a bid today.
Yeah, it did.
And jumped up pretty good.
Yeah.
So there's some stuff going on that might be positive. Now we'll go into cryptos, and everybody's probably going, "Thank God."
That was kind of depressing, wasn't it? Yeah, it was like everybody's like, "Oh no, I'm so depressed."
Yeah.
Oh, wait a second. Hang on, real quick, Joe. Anthony, can you not hear us? Said no sound. That's weird. Anthony? Uh-oh, he can't hear. me now? How about now? It's got to be something with this microphone. How about now? Anything? Okay, there we go. Andrea says yes. Okay. If you guys hear us, not talking, just let me know, please. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, let me go back to that weekly real quick. And what I was going to pull up is 200, okay? Now, we've only closed below it. If you go back, that long-term uptrend line that we hit goes back here to 2016. What I wanted to show you is this highlighted area where we did close on it and we wicked under it, which is kind of what we did last week or the week before last. And then we traded around on it, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks we traded before we got to close above it, then above the 20. But right now it looks like we're trying to pull away from it, and we're not consolidating as much around it, if that makes sense. So it looks like we're stronger now than we were then before we blew up, through 2015, 16, and 17, for whatever that's worth, okay? And then also, if you look over here, this shaded area, this is where the price is right now, right in the middle of all this long-term, sideways consolidation. And if we get a close above that, that'll be, a nice area, hopefully, for support, even though I'm going to contradict myself, even though we have this blowdown candle here, that completely, wipe right through it. Hopefully we can dig our way up and over it, this week. But we're coming up, if you put the fib here, the recent, uptrend and pullback, we're just at the 0.38, or, if you put it up here, we have longer to go. And this, we already knew this is going to be a tough area up here, this, 10,000 mark right where that 0.618 is, and then that's double top. But let me go back to this chart. Just go to the daily. And what I'm looking at, I think near term, and this is not financial advice or whatever, but getting a close above this 12 EMA, this black line, and then over this bullish engulfing candle that we had not been able to really, get a confirmed, close over, because everything was wicking up, as you can see here, and being sold off. It looked like today, and we'll probably be on here at the close, we're going to get a close above that, 12 EMA. Now, the only concerning thing, a lot of times we'll come up to this 20, and it's been a headache, a number of times for us, coming up off a downtrend. So that would be my only, reservation here, that 20. So, maybe we just pull back into this candle that we're putting in today for a couple of days, make a higher low. See these low pivots, you have one here, and then a higher low here, and a higher low there. Then maybe we'll pull back and make a higher low, in this area again. Yeah. So that's kind of important for people to watch for as well. And this is like, charting 101. You got to know these low pivots, and also that can be your, stop loss as well. Because, they make those W formations coming out, and if you take one out, then, that's generally a sign you're going to go, further to the downside. So, anyway, we are making higher lows, and then that was a high, there was a high, and then if we close this, we're making higher highs. So, I don't know. It looks like it's trying to dig its way out of there. But like I said, my only concerns is 20 coming down, and I haven't even looked at any of the other moving averages where the 50's way up there, the 100's way up there. So yeah, that's about it. My concern. And see, when they come together, if we're falling, as those moving averages,
So I've got there was real quick. I'm sorry to interrupt, Joe. There was Anthony in the channel had a question about the excuse me, the SPY chart. And I'm going to pull over my chart real quick, and I'll show you what I see, Anthony. I mean, so basically, you're talking about. Oops, hang on, didn't mean to do that. There we go. Let me get.
Do you want the daily or weekly SPY?
I'm gonna kind of go over it real quick with him. He had
Okay.
so if you want to get yours ready, and you can look at after I do mine. When you get to SPY, he said he's going to ask thoughts on what Trump said and thoughts on a bottom. Surgeon General and all the data suggests it can get way worse. Okay, so anyway, Anthony, so one thing about markets is most of them, are forward leaning, right? You're going to get the moves. Stuff is being priced in right now, okay? So what we're after is we're looking for something that's like major support, okay? And this right here would be one where it bounced off of today. That was a previous resistance area that became support. And that was at 220.54. I'm not going to get into the exact pennies and all that, but around 220. If it loses this area, right? Okay, and what you're looking at is a weekly chart, then your next support is right down here at 205. And that just so happens to be the 127.2 retracement from that low to this high up here. And it also happens to be some support from back in this area, right? Right over here, which was resistance, now support. So if you want my brutally honest opinion, because I can be that way sometimes, is that we're going to get a sharp rally, okay? Like I said earlier, we're going to get a big-time rally, and it's really going to just, get everybody FOMOing into this, and shorts are going to cover. It's going to be a short squeeze rally. Bear market rallies always do that, and they get the hopes up, but it's going to get sold into, all right? So the rally could last like a week or two, and it could be one of those that, you're sitting there going, okay, everything's back to normal, blah, 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 but there's been so much damage out there, people losing jobs, to recover from that is going to take time, right? But we're going to recover, but this is going to take a long time. It's not something that's going to just happen overnight. So anyway, I hope that answers your question. I'm short-term bullish, and I'll just say mid-term bearish, and then long-term bullish. So we'll see. All right, and I'm done.
Oh yeah, I agree. I was just with this deal. I'm big on Bitcoin Cash and watch this thing a lot. And I would probably take a position here if we get up and over this down trend line. This is an hourly chart, and each candle is 1 hour price action. This happened this morning about 7 a.m. I'm sure that pulled in a lot of people, but it wasn't bad. Nothing closed under the 50% level. All this in the higher range, the upper third or whatever of that candle. But what we want is confirmation here. And if we get for sure a close, above this down trend line and over this little red line here, that might be a short-term little, blast to the high side. A lot of times though, you'll take off, come back, retest this breakout level to test support, and then go. So if it comes back in, that's the reason, and then your stop loss would be under this blue dash line in case it was a head fake to the high side and they brought it back in. You could get out there. But anyway, regarding the SPY and which is ETF that, for people that don't know, it's ETF that tracks S&P 500, and it's easy to get in, get out of that, and trade that deal. Without investing in 500 different, stocks or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And I think I have it over here. Right here is where we have it, and the daily chart. Yeah, and I agree with JR that it's so oversold now that we do, and these big market dumps, they do have, big, strong, V-shaped recoveries for a short period of time. But we're going to come up, like you're saying, hit these resistance zones up here, those moving averages and fib lines, and then roll back over.
Yeah.
And the sentiment really is that, we come back up, and then when we roll back over, we actually go lower.
Correct.
So this thing, this could take, a couple of years to go out.
Yeah. I think a retest of right over here, I think that retest may happen right over here. That's 190. You can see the double bottom that was back in 2015, early 2016. I think that area is more than likely going to get tested at some point down here. Yeah, around 180 to 190, somewhere in that area.
Okay. Yeah, all that area. Okay, let's, I want to go back over here to Bitcoin.
Does anybody have any questions? I was going to ask real quick. Anybody got any questions?
Okay. Well, in the meantime, I'm going to show them over here where we have these low pivots. See, this is low pivot, then we had a higher one here, and we closed up and over that 20, and that's another little, technique I use. Try to catch the next low pivot and close over the 20 to get in. And most times, that's your runner, for example. So, you could miss, getting in all of this area here and getting whipsawed around, but catch the, the next higher low, or the next higher high, really, high, then this one closed higher, over, that you get over the 20, to safely get in there. But anyway, there's, everybody's got their little niche in the market or whatever to do that.
Yeah.
And then also another trick, when you get to 20 close to the 200, it's only going to be like that for a short period of time. Then you're going to get a huge expansion to the upside or downside. So what you could do, I'm going to take all that off. So I like the charts as clean as possible here. So there's your most recent high pivot right there. So we're getting close together here. So as soon as, you broke, if you were able to, see this, be there watching, or if you were aware of this, back in this area, you could have put a, buy position here or whatever, but I like to see it. I hate, I say every time, probably 60% of the time that I put something out there, it hasn't worked out. You know what I mean? Like a blind standing order, GTC, good tail cancel order. With crypto, they seem to just either know where you are and rip through them and turn the opposite way. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So I don't really like using those, more of a middle deal. And then as you can see today, a low, a high, a higher high. See, high, higher high, higher low, and then we're going here. So we have two higher pivots here, and that's on the hourly. The reason why I put it there on the hourly, because the same technique, all of it's the same on any trend, on any timeline. You'd be using a 2-minute, monthly, weekly, daily. Once you learn this stuff, you can use it on any timeline to trade anything, crypto stocks or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's well worth your time, put a little work into it and get it figured out, for your style. I bet everybody's ever is in Litecoin. That's a fan favorite. Let me look at it. Here we go. That low pivot here is almost like Bitcoin. Low pivot here. cleared out, and I think that 12 might have been there. Well, that's weird. It's not.
There it is.
There we are. Yeah, that's what it was. I was trying to clear out over the 12. So, if we get a close over the 12 and over this little high pivot area, then this might be a go. At least a run up to that 20 at 44.
Right.
They might be able to get $4 out of it. And who's to say that we pull back from there? I'm just saying that's would be my first target. If we get over, and I do not understand right now. See, Bitcoin is taking off, but see that 20's coming in. I don't know if this is going to be a head fake or not. And then Bitcoin Cash, it's just kind of barely moving. Litecoin is still under the 12. Ethereum's like way under the 12. XTZ, another big fan favorite.
You see the common theme though, don't you? You see the common theme. See this big red stick right here. All of this action right here is just corrective nonsense. Every one of them is this big red stick. On almost all these charts, everything is just basically inside of that red stick. So, to me, I think it still portends that we may have another downside to watch. I would just advise being very careful. Just day trade it, scalp it. Collect. Follow your plan and try to get as much free stuff as you can. Just in case it does, if it goes above that red stick right there, then it's off to the races, in my opinion. But I think you're right too, Joe. It's like, that one you have the downtrend line on. It's like, it just kind of gives me pause a little bit,
Oh, yeah. And, XTZ, I mean, it's, that's why you have to watch, those, see, this is a low pivot here, but we went even lower. And then we made a higher pivot here, which is good. So you get this W formation, in there that is important. I can't see that. Let me. And then up, and then coming in down, and then what you want is for the next candle or something to jump up. Now, if you can put that together on a chart.
Oh, yeah.
And see, and the trick is that this pivot here, the right one is higher than the left one, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, and you'll be able to, over time, just looking for that stuff, you'll be able to spot it out.
Yeah.
Without even doing that. And then even on a, early chart or whatever, you'll be able to see, 3 down, 1 up, and then as soon as you pass the top here, enter, or a lot of times it'll start turning green here, and you can get in even lower, and then run with it. Then link, it's another one. Well, let me get all that off. Yeah, see, you're right. I'm sure those red candles, man, that just killing the vibe there for sure.
It doesn't mean we can't overcome it. It just means it's going to take longer than what we think. More than likely.
Yeah.
Those moving averages have to come back and get close to each other. That one right up there. Now, it will, over time, that's your 200 up there. Is that right, the blue one?
Oh, well, it's a 12 EMA, and I just use it because that's what...
Oh, I was talking about your one up here at the top, up around 24 cents.
200.
Yeah.
Oh, this
200?
is the 200, yeah.
Okay, yeah. And see, I point that out time and time again, is that, price always seems to regress back to it, right? Or progress to it, depending on the trend. But price usually does not stay, now I say too long below it or above it, but over time it's going to come back and it's going to test it, right? On the 200.
Oh, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a good point. A lot of people don't know that little deal. Yeah. And then right there, the reason why that highlight is just to show all this sideways consolidation. It let the 12 and the 20 to pull down, kind of flatten out. Then they threw in this bullish broke it out. And that's what they'll probably do here. Let these come in, let it flatten out. So we could be here trading there a few more days.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I mean, that's one scenario. If they're going to keep it bullish, you could trade sideways, in here, maybe a little down. Let these come in, and then, by the end of March, 1st of April, they could break this thing out.
Oh, they could, for sure. Yep, no doubt.
So,
Right now, it just looks like, to me at least, like a bear. I don't know. I don't know if I want to call it a bear flag or anything like that, or a bearish wedge. But that just looks corrective to me. That just looks corrective as hell.
Oh, you're talking about the XRP?
No, I'm Bitcoin.
Oh, okay, let me go back to Bitcoin. Yeah, this is the daily on Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And see, I put like, and I'm just real quick. I'm gonna get my Bitcoin chart up real quick, and this is kind of what I had, guys. I mean, this could be nothing more than just a big rising wedge, right? This is a 4-hour chart, but I pointed this out last night. Around 5,600 was my call, and this thing could actually pull back up and hit maybe 7,700. It's possible, right? But when you look at it on a daily chart, that's a wedge, right? That's a bearish wedge. So again, we could come up to the top of this candle, hit this, and then pull all the way back again. So right now it looks good to get there, to at least do it. But like Joe said, you got to get above the 20 EMA first. And right now, at least, the daily candle hasn't closed yet. Am I correct?
Right, we're probably about 8 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, so
8 more minutes. Yeah.
That's going to put in a bullish engulfing candle on this chart on the daily. That's going to be a bullish engulfing chart. So anyway, I'll back out of that and let you get back after it there, Joe.
No, we were day trading this. I missed it, but this was a potential reversal candle. And then if this one closes below the red line, then we might get continuation down here. This is Bitcoin, so looks like we're pulling back a little bit. Now the only way, now if we take out this high pivot here, then we might run. That's why I always wait for the candles to close for confirmation.
That's a great point. That is a great point. And I'm going to interrupt you just for real quick.
No, go ahead.
That's a great point, and I'm glad you said that. There's a lot of new people trading. You cannot, and I repeat, cannot. That was a great point by Joe. Can't assume that a candle is going to close the way you think it does. A lot of stuff can happen in like 2 minutes, 5 minutes, even 30 seconds. So wait for a candle to close before you do your stuff. Great point, Joe. That was, yeah.
Yeah, so we got 3 more seconds, 2 seconds, 1, and then, okay, we're pulling back. So we'll see if we'll hit this trend line and bounce off of it.
And that's your 2 minute chart? Yeah, it's got resistance there. So
anyway, and it's the same way. The reason why I like to use it is just as an analogy for, the daily chart, which is where everybody, if you're fairly new, that's where you ought to be starting. So, actually, if you had got in, since this closed below the red, you got in on this candle, it opened at 64.79, and it's 64.72. Each dollar is $1,000 if you're holding 1,000 shares. So that's a few $1,000 just knowing what we just showed you there.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? See, boom is still going to the downside.
Right.
That's why that 20, it's still, that's probably about 10 grand right there. But anyway, then, well, we're going to the next point to maybe see if it comes down here and hits this little pivot. That's where I would.
That's a hangman. That's a hangman candle. That's a hang.
It's coming. It looks like they're, man, are they dumping this thing before the close? Normally they run it up at the close. So we're watching this live action. 2 minutes.
That's what we do.
2 minutes. 2 minute chart. But what I'm getting at, that I really like the 20 for a lot of different reasons. And normally, you know, if you get a big green candle on the 10-minute chart, on the see if we close the, well, no, it didn't. Okay, we're probably going to come down and hit this low period. But in the meantime, okay, on the daily chart, on the weekly chart, on the 10-minute chart, whatever, if you get a big bullish engulfing candle that takes out, you know, a number of other candles over the 20, chances are it's going to continue up. Then you put your stop loss under that candle.
Correct.
And that's where a lot of people screw up too, okay? And I'm getting off on a tangent here, so pull the reins on this wild horse. But I think, JR, this is what kills a lot of people. I'm going to use this. I'm going to switch to the daily. You got in on that candle. I'm going to see if this comes down and hit there and then pop up. Let's see if it's going to pop as soon as it hits that low pivot. But anyway, people buy, let's say this is the daily, and they go, all right, I'm going to, you know, it's over the 20, it cleared out. There's a big green candle that cleared out over the 20, and it took out, you know, several candles here or whatever. I want to get in, okay? That was your reason for getting in. For whatever reason, and a lot of times it does it. It'll pull, it won't work, but, well, not a lot of times. Let's just say there's a few times it won't work. But it goes back down, and for whatever reason, takes that candle out. Your first loss is always your least, you know, your smallest loss, okay?
Right.
And a lot of people will go, oh, you know, let me stay in, there was a reason you got in on that candle. And once price negates that, takes that out, and goes below it, whatever, you know, cognitive reason you got in, you know, technique, whatever, it's gone. That means it did not work. That play did not work. I mean, the quarterback gets sacked. He's not going to get up and keep trying to run, okay, because the play's over. It did not work. You got to huddle back up, you know, shake that off, and then, you know, go for the next one, okay? Holding it, okay, you got in on this candle here, and, well, that's not a good example. Okay, you got in on this candle here. You know, you jump, you know, you did what JR told you not to do. You got in before it closed, and it didn't close above the 200. So, boom, you started trading under it, okay? So you get out. You don't hold way down here, you know, and then go, okay, I guess I'll get out way down here. As soon as it actually, you should have been on this candle here. You would have gotten out here, and then boom, 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 you know. And then, look, see, you have this low pivot, and then this candle here took out the low pivot, and then that's where you would, you know, got back in. This is just for day trading. And then what would it, even if, and then this candle didn't make it over the 20, that's where you would have got out if you were day trading. But anyway, but look at this. See, we're back over the 20, and let's see if it closes. We got 48 seconds, and you're above this high pivot. So we might be on to something.
You want to see something funny real quick, and I just noticed it on your chart.
Go ahead.
I'm going to borrow your chart just for a second, and I'm going to show you a pattern real quick. I just saw it when I was sitting there looking at it. Okay, so see down here at the bottom? See this? Red stick, doji, green stick. It's not a true morning star, but that's a reversal pattern. And then you see what it did afterwards. But then go over here to the right, and then look over here. Does that look familiar? That pattern and this pattern, and then what happens after it? So watch for patterns, guys. That can be a telltale sign. Right there on Joe's chart, that was at, I guess, 2:30 today. And price was around 62.60. Boom. Made a move up, 300 points. And then right here, it pulls back, and you get almost the exact same pattern at 63.80. and it goes and makes a higher high up here around 65.40. So patterns mean a lot, right? So keep an eye on those patterns. Oh, that's big time. I just noticed that. That was good stuff.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah, I was thinking this thing would run up to here. But anyway, we're consolidating. A lot of times on a big candle like that, you'll pull in 2 or 3, and then either 2 or 3, then go. As long as you're above the, this 20, you're all right. But we'll see. We're 5 minutes until the new, till this candle closes, then a new daily candle closes, and then go from there. Now, on just see, we're still pushing up. So.
Yep.
Yeah. See, but anyway, that's, I just kind of wanted to, and then we'll probably get another reversal up here somewhere. I'm just talking, just a quick little day trade deal. Let's see if we can push through that, or if we get pulled back from. You always got to look left.
Oh yeah.
Because see, there we go. See, if you're day trading, you would have taken it right there. Boom. Of course, it's already out. The high was 65. Let's say you got in at 65.
Looks like she wants to go higher. Looks like she wants to go a little higher here.
Yeah, it does. We have, new candle coming in. Yeah, it looks like it's going to, push up. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Well, dang. Okay, that's interesting.
It's a little whippy.
Right.
A little whippy.
Yeah, here we go. All right, looks like that was a little bit of resistance. But see, you got to be real fast. See, that's an $8 difference, $10 difference. Each dollar's $1,000. So that's why those guys play that leverage game.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But you got to be quick. Yeah, you got to be quick, and you got to know your,
You got to know your stuff.
Yeah. So, but see, as soon as it's still running to the high side. If you just stayed long, and then just kept moving your,
Sure, your stop up. Yeah.
I like to use the bottom tail. See, on that, and then even if you got in here, the close there was 64.96. That's about $20 difference between here and your stop loss.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, let's look at the daily. Take that off. That's that's great. It's running, but just that 20 scares me. I got a feeling it's going to come up and kiss that 20 and then pull back. We'll probably have a couple of days of pullback here, and then maybe a higher low, and then go again. And then if it does that, it might be decoupling, as they say, from the stock market, because stock market just, day to day on, I don't know when it's going to catch a bid and actually start running again. It'll probably be fairly soon, because it just, I don't know how, much more downside oversold
Right.
all that can get without at least a little, recovery bounce or whatever. But heck, this might hit the 20 before the night's up.
Oh, I think it probably will.
See?
Yeah.
We already hit our high pivot there, see? And then we got to go to the hourly chart, take all that off, and, right here is your next little bump in the road. See how we did that inside bar? And that's another thing that's real important. That green candle here, inside bar, and everything that's in it, you can wick below it, but as long as you do not close a red candle under it, you're good to go.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you, start trading to the upside, that's generally but anyway. But if people have, an actual coin they'd be interested in, between the two of us, maybe we can figure something out for them. If this is getting boring,
Now, you know what's funny though is that I've got my TV on in my office, and I'll guarantee you, Trump does not have coronavirus because his lungs are really good. He's been talking for like, oh my God, going on over an hour. So he does not have coronavirus, folks. I'm just telling you, okay? His lungs are really good right now.
Dr. JR in the house.
I'm telling you. Hey, okay, so Joe, we got our first chart request. Link.
Oh, that's one of the big favorites.
Yeah,
And,
the old high
Here we
flyers.
go. Group favorite.
Yeah.
Okay, let me go to the weekly, and
Wow, look at that stick. Oh, my God.
big, week before last, this was Sunday, this closed out Sunday, and this is today, really, into tomorrow. So we could be getting a reversal here, and we might could get a chance to run up to that 20. I didn't want to do that one. Let me see right here. Let me see what that looks like on the daily. Yeah, up here around that 200, I would say. That's probably what the plan is.
Mm-hmm.
You might be able to get a run up there. Not financial advice, I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah.
That might be, if we finish up, especially Bitcoin, starts making a little bit of a run, maybe these altcoins will catch up. But what I'd like to see is it start trading, before it even gets there, trading over that red candle from yesterday, from the 22nd. This is today's. And then here any second, we'll have to pop a new candle body here next to it. But, let me go to the hourly. 28 seconds left on this candle, and then we're going to start a new one. That'll be the daily candle. And then we'll see where we go from there on link. But, again, I like, the 3-day chart. Each one of them is 3 days price action.
Boy, look at those long wicks. Look at those long wicks. That is strong support right there.
Yeah.
That
and
is,
this one's higher than that one.
Yeah.
And then, exactly.
And then you're working on another one right now, on this week, or the 3-day.
Yeah. It started actually yesterday, so it'll close tomorrow. This candle will close tomorrow.
Wow.
And if it closes up, if it closes green tomorrow, this might unleash the beast.
Oh, I'm telling you.
Yeah, that might not be a bad look. But on the we're starting.
Well, Bitcoin's getting a bid here. I don't know what the hell's going on, but it's getting a big bid right here.
Look at it. This that's the 2-minute chart. Every 2 minutes, these candles are running.
Oh shoot! Look at that! Boom.
Yeah, that's correct. Then I got to pull off to the 10-minute to be able to see it, and then you got to go to the hourly to start putting in your next. The next, deal a little. Yeah,
66.39 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, 66.40. Let's say 39.40. See where this one went. This candle right here ran up right to that location, so that's going to be have a double top for it, and you have to pull off to the hourly to see it, because in the 2-minute, the chart was just too small there. But if you go back, I don't.
So,
you have to pull.
So Alec or Elijah, I'm sorry for the name, I can't pronounce it. He wants to know what it would be a decent entry on Link. Decent entry on Link.
Oh, let me pull it back up. Yeah, we were saying, really, if we take out yesterday's, that's just my opinion. The only thing I know is I know nothing at all, but I just say, I think we start trading over, and maybe on an hourly chart, 4-hour chart, whatever you feel comfortable with. If we close over that, bearish engulfing candle, that might be, a good spot. But I think you're going to be limited to the run up to around this 200.
I agree.
Now, I
totally agree.
and pull back a little bit. I don't know, but let me see what that 12 is. Okay, you got to, yeah. Okay, let me show everybody this. Okay, this a bow tie right here. And the reason why it's a bow tie because you have the one move. It doesn't matter what moving average it is. Matter of fact, for length, I don't know if I wouldn't just go ahead and pull the trigger on it now. It looks like everything's catching a bid. And then put your stop loss, just a few cents under where you got it. If I got in now, I'd go ahead and put it in at the low of the candle today, where that hourly candle start. Well, let me see. I'll probably put it right here on this low, because you have this low wick here, one, then a higher low, and then go. Depending on what see, it's taking off. Depending on what your risk management is. I mean, if you don't have a lot to play with, and I'll probably put it higher, like right there, because these little, anything under $5, when it starts losing even 10, 15, 20 cents, that could add up. Okay? So, I mean, I'm just saying what I do, but,
yeah.
that's me. But see that 10-minute chart, that's 10-minute candle right there, and just under that low wick right here, I give you a little bit of wiggle room, because if you come down and take that out, we're probably going a lot lower. All this was just a head fake today. So you might as well, lose the least amount, if that makes sense. And then, see, it's already coming up, so we'll probably hit that 12. You're probably going to have a target 240
Yep.
at least.
That's what I'm seeing.
Maybe 245, yeah.
That's what I'm seeing.
Bitcoin, oh, my God. Oh, sorry. I thought that was no, it is the daily. Oh, my God. You were right.
Yeah.
We are going to hit it, or we did hit it.
Yep.
Jeez.
Yeah, I got to watch this area real close right here, because if it busts that, it's one of those that it's going to pull back a little bit, right? It's not going to just zoom all the way to like 7,000 or anything like that. At least I don't think so.
Oh, yeah.
But you're going to get some pullbacks. This is a day trader's market right now, and that's what's going on.
Right. Oh, exactly. Yeah. And if you got, I don't know, the capital, the credit, or whatever to do margin trading, I can't do it on, I don't want to do it really on the cryptos. I do it not all day, but I do it on the stock market through TD Ameritrade.
Mm-hmm.
Because to be honest with you, I guess it's just because of years and years, JR. I guess I'm just old school. I'm so much more comfortable doing, stocks than I am these cryptos here. But you see how fast they move. And there was, a small move. There's, 10 grand. A $10 move is 10 grand if you did 1,000 shares. So,
well, there's nothing wrong in your thinking about that, because stocks are much more liquid and crypto is not. At least not yet.
Yeah, that's a good.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not like, cryptos is like trading penny stocks. That's my comparison. It's like trading penny stocks in a stock market. That's what it's like. At least for now.
Right.
Except for like Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, those are more liquid, and probably XRP because they've got the army out there. But still, other cryptos are just so illiquid that it doesn't take much to move them. And so you probably get some of these institutional guys that are sitting there playing around with it and screwing everybody over. But if you time it right and you get it right, hey, you're looking good.
More power to you. Now, see, that's going to be interesting when we come up here. We have a top here, and then definitely a high pivot over here. So that's 66.35 to 40.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'd be interested to see how that turns out. We ought to hit it any second now. I'm thinking there'll be a lot of shorts come in right there. So when it hits it, we'll switch to the 2-minute and see what they do here. We're getting pretty close. Now, 66.18. We still have a few dollars to go.
Okay. Okay, Joe. So Honey Badger wants to know what you think about Tezos, XTZ.
Well, personally, I love it. But, yeah, we'll take a look at that. I wanted to, okay, here we go. We're into, hold on, I'll do the Tezo. I just want to see what, okay, boom, we should be getting some, well, not quite. When we hit that blue line, we ought to be seeing some big shorts come in. Tell you what, this has 10 more seconds, and then we'll do Tezos. Maybe on the next. Okay, it's already red. They're going to surge it up, and then, oh, come on. Well, sooner, yeah, it happened sooner than I thought. Okay, I thought they'd run it up to that blue line, but they didn't. It's pulling back now.
It's pretty darn close, though. Pretty darn close.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that was Bitcoin. I was going to say it got pretty darn close to that blue line of yours.
Yeah, that's Bitcoin.
Probably close
See,
enough.
I would have missed this because I would have wanted more odds on my side. So I would have wanted to hit firmly into that brick wall. But the algos were smarter than me, and they took it early.
Right. We need to create our own algo.
Yeah, you can't beat the algo. Look at that, it's still dipping. Anyway, okay, here goes XTZ. See, it's pulling back too.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't necessarily get that with stocks. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like generally, not every technology stock in the world pulls back at the same time with the same, velocity and acceleration. And that's what's weird. Okay, here's tails. For me, it's not a deal until we XTZ tails. It's not a deal until we get a close over that 12. Right now, it's suspect.
I'll tell you, honestly, what I would like to see on that, Joe, is I would like to see it just sit there and hug that 12 EMA and let it just flatten out for the next day or two.
Yeah, I see.
And let the 20 come down and let those two just bunch together and then turn it back up. That's what I'd like to see.
Okay. Gotcha.
See those moving averages, when they get close together, like right back in here, something's getting ready to happen. And if you got Bollinger Bands on there, I'm sure they were probably pretty tight back here. But, man, that 12 never crossed that 20. And it tried to hold it as support, and then it just finally gave up. It couldn't just totally close above that 20. But, that's good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Mm.
And I was trying to catch it.
So I was going to bring up real quick, and I'll pull up. Let me pull up my. Where's it at? Let me pull up my. Okay, and this is something I brought up the other day. If we was to go back, right, and forgive kind of the messy look to it, but I brought this up as way back here when Bitcoin was bottoming around 3,000. We saw this big up move off the bottom, right? And basically it just went sideways for 2 to 3 weeks. And it let these moving averages get closer and closer and closer to where they all bunched together. And then we started making lower or higher lows, bump up, and then eventually we took out the 200 and the 233. So where are we at today? I would compare this similar to what we had back then, is that although it could take a little longer, we'll see. But when you get EMAs that are spread this far apart, that just means higher resistance in those areas between them, right? So you want those EMAs to get closer and closer and tighter. And not only that, but your Bollinger Bands are so far apart that this thing could just get whippy as hell in the next couple of months. So just keep that in mind. That's all I wanted to bring up.
Gotcha.
All right. Any other chart requests or questions, guys? I know somebody's got to have a chart request. Come on. Let's see what you got.
Yeah, here's that 2-minute chart. short on, see it. I mean, it's still dropping.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Well, what's happening is I'm looking at a date. Well, it's the daily chart. It's the 20 EMA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, look at the daily chart. It's the 20 EMA that's...
Yeah, I see. Yeah, you were calling that it was going to hit
Oh,
that.
yeah. Yeah, 20 EMA is kicking it back right now, so...
Yeah.
Oops, sorry.
And then Litecoin, some of the others, they're just having a problem getting up and over. Like you said, if it'll flatten out for a while, we might be good to go. But,
yeah. I'll tell you what, Joe, while you got your charts up, Friesen wants to take a look at ETH, Ethereum.
Oh, yeah, Ethereum. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to put that up before. Okay,
Yeah.
see, we came up and bumped. See, I'd already had this, this is my plan. If we get a close above, these two green candles.
Mm-hmm.
See, we're trading right in there. We really need, they might, the beast might be free if they never get a close above that 12. In other words,
boy, there's a chart pattern I'm seeing right there, Joe. Oh my gosh, I think it's called maybe a 3-line strike, maybe. But you've got your big green candle right here, and then you get corrective action for the next 3 days, followed by the move higher. So everybody keep an eye on ETH. This could pop through that 12 that Joe's talking about, and maybe come up and test 155. So keep an eye on that.
Right. Yeah, and if you pop through here, you're going to run up to that 20 like we saw in Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's a 3-line strike, I believe. I'd have to look it up, but I think it is.
Okay. And we're going to take a quick peek at the total market cap without Bitcoin.
Mm.
And it's kind of picking up. It's the weekly. So there's money coming back in or switching out of, I'm not saying it's coming out of Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is dominant, 67%. So it's, see, here's the weekly. So if we close above that 20 on the weekly, man, that's going to be actually pretty strong. Because we have this low pivot over here. So, yeah, if we close, this high 67 into 68% dominance,
Mm-hmm.
Bitcoin could take off.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not even kidding. And then the total market cap, right here, we're already above this. Let me take that 200 off. It's distracting me. I'm about half ADD, so this low pivot here, see, we can close the week above that. That'd be positive for the alts. And you know what? Heck, they might could take off up into that 20 and 12. Is everything else above that? Yeah, the 50 is above it. 100, 200 is just right there. Yeah, it could be the same thing as over here. Once we got above the 12 and the 20, how we ran. I see where there's a comparison. When we were really below it, like right in here, we were below it, but they weren't, together like they are now. Actually, they're about to cross like this. See how this is crossing, and then
Price has already hit it, right? So you would think it'd come back and test that area, but
right. So this is the candle we might be on right here. So we might get another week or two to come up and hit, this, for the next 2 weeks. This might be, I don't know, could be the turnaround week this week to run up there and hit that. Let's see on the weekly. Let me take this off. And I'll put the 200 back on there. What was it that we were under I was concerned about? Well, it was a 200. Let me go to the
Oh yeah.
Yeah, take all that out.
Mm-hmm.
Now the only thing,
hitting the 61.8. Is that what it's doing?
well, we're a little over it.
Oh, it went over it.
We're
Okay.
a tad over
So it looks like it's maybe on its way to 7,300.
Yeah.
At least, not right now, but at least over the next week or so.
Right. Yeah, we could. Yeah, absolutely.
I'll tell you what, when you get done there, I'm going to have you. I've been banging the table on this for a while, and I haven't taken a position yet, but I probably will tomorrow. If you don't mind, can you take a look at Jets? That's the ETF for the airlines.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And maybe even also take a look at Delta Airlines. Because I've been telling people it's not like people aren't ever going to get in a plane again. It's not like they're never going to fly somewhere. When this whole thing is said and done and it's over, and especially if the airlines get a boost from the stimulus package, this is going to get a pop like you would not believe. So,
Yeah. Man, we might be on some. Dang.
look at that, right? It's not like people aren't ever going to fly again. So if you've got a longer term perspective, and even if you wanted to play options on it, you could go all the way out to May or June and play like some in the money calls right now. And maybe by May or June, you're going to be sitting pretty.
Okay, for the history of this stock, it never, like we were talking about before, for the history of this stock, like as we were talking about before earlier, you know, it never got that far from the 20, the red line.
Yeah.
And look how far we are, even if it goes halfway.
That's why I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
That is crazy.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm steal your idea here.
Good. Steal it all you want, bro. I've been banging the table on this one for the past few days, and I've been telling people, I said, and I think it was around 14 or 15, I said, yeah, it could go lower. I said, but I'm banging the table. Banging the table if you can hear it. It's like jets.
Yeah, I mean, this is at least a 20% pop, I would say, as soon as, and you know what I would do, man, we clear that, let me see, and I'll say if we clear today's high.
Yeah, it's got numerous gaps in that chart too, so, or well, I say numerous, but it's got 1, 2, 3, at least 3 that I can see on your chart.
Dang, okay, I'm going to go over. Sorry, I'm on personal business now.
Oh, yeah. I thought that might catch your eye.
Yeah, I'm going to say that in my little trading group there.
And that's the ETF for the airlines. That's the whole group. But if you wanted to go individually and pick one of the stronger ones, Delta Airlines has a very strong balance sheet. They're going to be one of the ones that survives this. So DAL. That's going to be one of the ones.
DAL. Okay.
Yep, Delta Airlines. DAL. Yep.
I don't know how I messed that up. Anyway. Yeah, look at that. That's looking like he wants to do a little reversal there. And this was really not that. This was pretty strong. This is, I mean, it's beat down, but not like the ETF was.
Now, that thing was at 62, not like a month or a month and a half ago, and it's sitting right around where?
Look.
Yeah, 20s.
Jeez.
Yeah. So if you've got a little bit of a longer term perspective, I could see this getting back into the 40s over the next few months. So just feel free to tip me on that one, guys, in the channel. I'll put my... No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
No, I'm not. That's a good...
It's like people think it's the end of the world and nobody's ever going to fly again. I'm like, come on, guys. Really? I mean, especially if they get any sort of stimulus help, like loans, right? They're going to get loans on this stuff. It's not like free loans, but it's going to be a low interest rate loan, and the government's going to help these guys. So, now car manufacturers, they're probably going to be a little bit different. Ford, I'll tell you what though, Ford at $4, and it's like nobody's ever going to drive again, right? So, you know what I'm saying? And I thought this back in 2008. Go back on your weekly and look at Ford. I think I saw Ford around the same price back in 2008, maybe, if memory serves. Oh, yeah, there it is. Oh, it actually was $1. Oh, I could not. Oh, my God, I totally forgot that. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. See,
oh, yeah.
And it ran up to 19.
Oh, yeah.
And really not that long of a period of time.
No, it didn't.
Check it out.
No, that was a V recovery, but... Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some bargain basement. Now, that doesn't mean things can't go lower. Everything can go lower, right? But I would err on the side of airlines right now.
Yeah. Man, I was on this chart before. I wonder what the heck I was thinking. I had this here.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
The upside, it didn't. So anyway, that's weird. You never know.
Yeah. So JR is banging the table on airlines right now.
Yeah, seriously, you're like Kramer out here, man. No.
Oh yeah, I don't have the
You're called
buy. I don't have the buy button.
Yeah. What was that other one? Was it the Dow? You said that, or
Delta Airlines.
Oh, Delta. Okay.
DAL.
Yeah, Okay.
DAL, Delta Airlines.
Okay. Yeah, just looking here. Man, yeah, there's probably going to be some industries, and also, the hotel. They probably are not. People are probably going to stay in the hotel again at some point in time. You know what I mean?
Oh, they have to, yeah, right? It's not like people aren't ever going to travel or do anything again. Right. So, God, this is like a gift, really, guys. This is like a gift.
Okay, Jay,
look at
going
Bitcoin.
on, man. Something is going on. Here was that big red candle we were going to short, We hit the 12, did a reversal, potential reversal here. Came up, here's a low pivot, here's a higher low pivot, and now we've already broke through this double top here. Yeah,
is it breaking through the 20 on the daily?
Oh, yeah, let me see the daily. Yeah, we're probably over the 20. Yeah, just by a hair.
Just by a hair. It's testing it. Uh-huh.
Man, that is crazy. I wonder if cryptos are getting a little bit. Well, you did hear that news today that the Senate. I'll get all those people mixed up. Who's on where? Who's on first? What's on second?
Right.
One of those groups is asking for a digital dollar. They didn't say crypto, but they said digital dollar.
Right.
So maybe somebody knows something we don't, and jumping into this.
Very possible. I still would be, this has the potential to run right back to, I would say at the short term, 7,200. But I would be still a little cautious. I'm expecting like a rug pull, maybe a move back to the, here we are, we're the 12 and your 20 right here, price is breaking through. And what normally happens when you break that, it turns and reverses and it comes back and tests that 12 EMA just to make sure. And if it holds that, then that drives the price higher. So on any pullback, watch that 12 EMA. It's the 10 on mine, but I mean, me and Joe are pretty much the same on our, the EMA stuff. So,
oh yeah.
But anyway, you may get a breakthrough here. But if you do, just know that you're going to come back and you're going to test that 10 or 12 EMA at some point. So be careful.
Oh, yeah.
Don't just go hog wild and start thinking it's going to go to 7,200 right now. But just, be aware that you're going to come back and test the EMAs. So, anyway, that's
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're already back. Yeah, testing this high pivot area here.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Good stuff. Great stuff. Let's see. What do we got here? Honey Badger says, I think that was part of the Democrats' proposals in the Senate. Don't quote me on that. What was part of the airlines?
Oh, the digital dollar deal.
Oh, the digital dollar. Okay. I don't know about that. I know one of the reasons that the proposal or the stimulus package was held back, and this is just one of them, all right? And this is, I'm not pointing fingers or blaming, but obviously a lot of that money was going to go to the airlines, and I say a lot, probably a portion of it was going to go to airlines, but that the Democrats, one of their stipulations in that was that there had to be something that was going to be like tied to climate, as far as the airlines and their jet fuel, as far as making it more, which was the stupidest, stupidest shit I ever heard in my life. I'm sitting here going, if you're blaming climate, if you're going to throw this climate stuff in there, it's too late. What are you doing? I almost wanted to just throw something across the room when I heard that. I was like, they're holding this up because they're not getting their little climate thing in this package. I'm like, guys, there are people losing jobs, companies losing money, and you want to get your climate stuff in there? Give me a break. Give me a break.
Let's fight over that later. Yeah, there's literally people, especially the service industry, all the, hotel workers, I don't have to tell everybody knows, restaurant people, bartenders, everything. Man, they're gutted out,
Big time.
And how many of those folks do you think have their, what's that guy's name? The 6 months of, savings to be able to live on.
Oh, you're talking about Dave Ramsey? Dave Ramsey. Yeah.
I wonder how many of them, do the Dave Ramsey,
Not very many. Not very many.
I mean, when they could barely bake ends meet now.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, that's something else.
I didn't mean to get political about that, but when I heard that, I was like, it just stunk to high heaven that they're trying to do this to delay a package that's going to help America, and they're sitting there looking at it. Well, we don't want to help the president, and it's like,
I think that's what it is. They're like two divorced parents.
Exactly.
Fighting over the kid or so. I don't know. I think the Dems, they hate Trump so much that they'll hurt Americans in order to get back at him. But
absolutely.
It's only, flying back on them. So, why not help a few people, and then after this is straightened out, then go back, to your old ways.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is all about America surviving. Our economy is crashing, and these guys are worried about climate change? I mean, give me a freaking break. I mean, I could worry about climate change later. Worry about that a year or two from now. Don't worry about it now. I mean, pass the damn package and get people their checks. Get the small business, the consumers, get people that are laid off. Get them money right now. Right now. This is not a time to bicker over some stupid climate crap, or even Republicans, if they're bitching about something. They need to get off their ass. I mean...
Well, we're not... Yeah, neither one of us are, it's the same turd bird, both, both groups, both parties, they're just different wings on the same turd bird. But anyway, if it was Republicans doing it, I'd be yelling at them too. That's just asinine, And we better not be giving any money to these corporations and letting our own out here, and that goes for the Republicans. They better not, if I was talking to Trumpers, I'd be saying the same deal. Don't be giving any money to any corporation until we take care of our own.
You're darn right. It's exactly right. I don't want to see one company bailed out. If you want to give them a loan to get through this, that's one thing. But to bail them out, no, absolutely not. We learned that lesson back in 2008. But now, if the government, and what it may come to, Joe, is the government goes in and maybe the government buys Boeing, just like they did GM, which, it could end up being something like that. But I'm just saying, no bailouts, absolutely not, and don't let. Here's the other thing, and I'm getting on a rant here too because I saw this the other day. Some senator sold a bunch of stock. Did you hear about that?
A bunch of them did.
Yeah, a couple of them did, 4 of them, and one of them was from Oklahoma, which pissed me off. But they all sit there and talk about, oh well, we had to, whatever. I'm like, come on, guys. They ought to be thrown in jail for that crap.
Yeah. Oh no, it gets crazier than that, JR. One of the ladies, what's her name? Her last name starts with L, but she's married to, but I guess she kept her maiden name. She's married to the guy that owns ICE and the New York Stock Exchange.
Oh,
back.
Yeah. I saw that. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was the former CEO or whatever.
Yeah.
Of back.
Yeah.
And then went political. And then now at the same time, supposedly every congressman, senator is supposed to have their assets in a blind trust.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, I can't. Oh.
Yeah, even Trump is supposed to have, so there won't be any supposed, insider trading, collusion, whatever. But who's to say, JR, you're in charge of my blind trust? I don't know what you've done in there, but I call you up and go, hey, dude, we just had this inside, in this dark, smoke-filled room.
Yep.
The lowdown on this, virus coming our way. What do you think that's going to do to the stock market? And then you would say, holy shit, it's going to crash it.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. Yeah, I would be like, yeah, that's just they ought to be thrown in jail for that crap. It just makes me so mad when I see people, friends, I hear about them. My buddy out in California, he's got a huge factory, lighting equipment, and he was in self-quarantine. When I talked to him last week, he was in self-quarantine. And I've been actually texting him and calling every night, but he had to shut his factory down. And he's in California is shut down. And he came into contact with somebody that had corona, and that's why he was in self-quarantine. But anyway, that's another story. But it just, those are people that are losing their businesses. They're losing money hand over fist. And these jackwagons here are talking about climate stuff. Or I'm sure the Republicans, even though you hear them on TV, they probably got some sort of pork something in their bill that, is blocking this thing too. But they just need to get over this and get together, pass the damn bill, and let's get people money. Let's go.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But anyway, that's why we got to figure all this out and help our own, because the government certainly not going to do it. The government's not out there buying toilet paper for me.
That's exactly right.
Really, and I've always said that. It's kind of fun. I've always said that, the government has 2 jobs. It's in existence for 2 reasons. One, to grow itself bigger, and then number 2, to tax me, the peasant, to every inch of my life, so it has the funds to grow itself bigger, So, anyway, that's my, rant of the day.
Yep, same here. Okay, so let's get... Sorry about the rant there, folks, but we had to do our deal. you guys have any chart requests or, questions, anything we've talked about, and it can be anything, whether it's, long-term view, short-term view, what we think might happen, etc. Just any questions at all. Wait on people and see if they have anything they want to look at. While that's going on, I'm going to take a look at, let's see, let me pull up that was that Bitcoin chart I had. And obviously Joe mentioned it, we're testing that 20 EMA. And if I switch this over to a 4-hour chart, Honey Badger, where do I learn to read charts? Well, you can either follow me or Joe. That's one place to start.
Yeah.
I mean, but with that said, I will say this because, here's one place. I'll just give you the link. Hang on, let me look it up real quick. I mean, and this is really for new people.
I'm telling you, you can figure quite a bit out on your own, but to find nuances and it's almost like learning how to do a fine motor skill without a teacher or instructor, trying to do gymnastics, or I know this from having daughters, trying to do gymnastics or dance by just looking at YouTube. Now that they have, the fundamentals and stuff, now my granddaughter is in 2 different dance classes and a tunneling class, but, you need to really have a solid foundation from, a coach or a tutor, and I know that, sound like we're trying to push you one way or the other, but I'm just saying, a lot of the books out there are written by people that, and JR probably backed up on this, that probably never traded or put on a buy order or a sell order in their whole life.
Correct.
They just gone around to other books and stuff and pulled and culled, things from other people. I don't know, I would follow or and they're not, the sole person, I don't know it all, JR doesn't know it all, but, we have proven track records, at least I can, say that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're not going to, BS you, because we got to, we're held accountable. How many people out there are trading or writing books that they're not held accountable for their calls? They don't, you know what I'm saying? We go out there on, Twitter or something, we got a few thousand people, that call you out or something, and we don't always get it right. Lord knows, I mess them up all the time, but, you try to get your odds, more leaning toward your side. Now you do that as experience. Really, okay, I'll just tell you this. If I was going to start with someone that never even seen a chart, never whatever, if I was teaching a college one-on-one class, I would probably start them on a weekly chart for 2 reasons. One, that's going to slow it down and show the candles, show the candle formation, show the support, show the resistance, everything, very clearly. And then number 2, what's that going to do? That's going to build patience with them. They're going to have to wait a whole week before, they make a move. So they will not down the line. Hopefully they'll have that will build, this self-discipline to not FOMO in or panic sell or what have you. And then I'd go probably do a 3-day chart, trade off it, and then a daily. But you can start on a daily, but the main 3 things, the only thing you need on a chart really Well, what I use, that 20, maybe that 12 EMA, but you can use the 10 day if you're using those free charts. This is a membership. So the 10, the 20, and probably the 200, until you start rocking and rolling, then, other things. But those low pivots, we were showing low pivots, high pivots, basically your support resistance zones. Those are easy to see because you can just take a horizontal line and just push it up the chart until it hits one, and then it'll clearly, show you where it is. And that's going to be a resistance if you're coming up to it. If you're coming down, that's going to be your next support area. And then if you see a big green candle going through the 20, that red line or whatever color you make yours, you see it from the bottom. If you see a big green candle close above that 20, then that might be a place to get in, okay? And then put your stop loss under it, and vice versa. You see a big red candle go under that 20, you might want to start, getting out. And then if you did get lucky and you got the big green candle that came through the 20, as it moves up, we'll move that stop loss at least mentally. Go, okay, this is the next candle. If it closes under that candle, I'm out. Okay? So, anyway, just that right there, I think you could do darn well just with those little, 2, 3, 4 things. To be honest with you, it's not rocket science.
It's really not. Yeah, you're totally right. It's not. It's and like I've said before, of course, if somebody looks at my chart, they look at it and they go, "Wow, that thing's a holy mess." They see lines everywhere and they're like, "I don't understand. What is it?" Well, that's only because I've had years of experience at it, and that's why I've got that stuff on there. Because to me, I look at it and I'm going, "That makes sense." I see it just in my mind. But for most new people, you don't want to do that. I would only recommend maybe start out with, maybe like Joe said, maybe a couple of moving averages, watch your support and resistance lines, and that's all you need to start out with. And I would recommend this too. Okay? Most people want to sit there and trade immediately. They want to sit there and say, I'm going to fund my account $1,000 and I'm going to get in and I'm going to buy something right now. No. Absolutely worst decision you can ever make. What I would recommend is paper trading. Okay? The only bad thing about paper trading is that you don't get really emotionally involved because it's paper money. It's not real. So you have to try to make it as realistic as you can. So if you're like on paper, don't sit there, and that's why I used to laugh my butt off, Joe. And I'm sure you'll remember this. You could have gone into TD Ameritrade back in the day and had a practice account, and guess what they did? They would put $50,000 in there, right? And so you're sitting there going, "Oh, $50,000! I can sit there and just buy something, and forget about it, or I could, risk all the money on something and sit there and think I make $100,000 or whatever." You can't do that. You have to start out small and imagine that only you have $1,000 in your account, and then just sit there and paper trade it that way. What percentage? You have to compound your account. You're not going to get rich overnight. And that's one of the things that traders can't seem to understand, is that I'm going to get in Bitcoin and I'm going to be a millionaire overnight because everybody else on Twitter is. Give me a break. Nobody else on Twitter, because if all those guys on Twitter were millionaires, they wouldn't be on Twitter.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's absolutely.
So they would be on a beach. They would be on a beach or whatever. And I've said it before. Yeah, if I'm ever a millionaire, you're not going to find me on Twitter. I may check in every few days and whatnot, and maybe post something, but I'm not going to be there every day.
Right. No, yeah.
So anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, you're gonna be trying to manage, that million.
I think you said it best, Joe. Is that when people are trying to get into something, and what to look at, you mentioned it perfect. Just keep it simple. Simple stuff works. It really does. It's the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid, right? And so a lot of people don't understand that, and they see HMO clouds, Bollinger Bands, and granted, I use Bollinger Bands, but I'm just saying that people want to load their charts up with all kinds of indicators, and they have not taken the time to see how they react and what makes them do what they do. So don't just throw something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. And then a lot of them are, in medical profession, they call it comorbid. That, one relates to the other, and a lot of them are just a duplicate of another indicator. So you have 5 different indicators called 5 different things, but they all,
they all do the same thing.
yeah, seriously.
Mm-hmm.
So, just something to keep in mind.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Man. And then, I don't know, a lot of times, it's just trial and error, and just try to end up, I don't know, you don't have to confess, JR, but I will. Man, I blew up two $25,000 trading accounts. The first one, I thought I could just watch Kramer. I didn't know come here from Sikkim, and I thought it was a pretty easy thing to do. You just say, oh, okay, I'm gonna buy here and sell there, but emotions get in, and then you start second guessing yourself, and then I think your headspace messes with you more. Well, at least for me, I got to talk from personal experience. Your headspace messes with you more and causes more anguish than the actual, figuring it out and everything.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll admit it. I mean, and I've talked about this before, back in 2000. I made $150,000 in 3 months from like late 1999 up until probably February or March of 2000. $150,000 in 3 months. That account was taken down to, and I did spend some money, right? Don't get me wrong. I went out and bought some good stuff, but I would say I probably blew at least $70,000 on that on the market. 70 grand. And you know why? Because I got the big head. And the guy that taught me everything, and this is one of the biggest mistakes I ever made, the guy that taught me everything I knew, I started thinking I knew it all, and I went against him. I was like, oh, well, you don't know this. We started arguing back and forth. And I can remember him telling me to this day, the NASDAQ, when it was at 5,000, he said, JR, there's a gap down there at 1486 or 1480, somewhere in that area. And he said, it's going to get filled. I'm just telling you right now, this thing is not good. And I said, you're full of shit, buddy. There's no way. I mean, this thing's going higher. And so every little dip that the NASDAQ took when it was in its bear market, I was like, oh, this is it. We're going to go higher. And I just got trapped time and time again. And I called him up. We're still friends, by the way. But I just told him one day, I said, dude, you were totally right. I said, I'm sorry I went against you. I thought I knew everything, and I didn't. So, yeah, I blew about 70,000 on the market. Yep, 70,000. Only because I got the big head and I got arrogant and just didn't go back to the basics. I was a dumbass. So, anyway. Live and learn. All right. Well, let's see. We got the people are starting to dwindle off a little bit. I don't know if he's still around. Here was a question. Any comments on silver and the huge difference between physical silver price and paper traded price?
Okay. Well, that's just my personal bias. Unless you're going to be in and out and trading it, I think the physical is the only way to go.
I agree.
I mean, long term, because I know from personal experience, it's a little bit of a pain to, sell it off because you have to, get it insured, by the United States Postal Service, and then send it. But once it's there, you can insure it for whatever, and the insurance is really not that cheap.
Right.
I mean, it is cheap. It's really not that expensive. I mean, and then you send it. A while back I sent. It's been a number of years ago. Anyway, from the same dealer that I purchased it from, and it was just a turnaround deal. Then they just got my checking account, or my whatever you call it, where you just transfer the funds right into your checking account.
Yeah, wiring in the money.
Yeah, wire transfer. Yeah, right in. And also, the reason why I'm telling this story is that, there's no taxes on it. And instead of selling, crypto stock or whatever, for the down payment, you can use that, or gold, or, whatever. So I've just, there's no capital gains, no tax or anything. It was just a wash deal. So anyway,
Gotcha.
Something to think about. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're getting pretty close. I'm going to give it and if you're okay with it, Joe, I'll give it like maybe a couple minute call here if anybody has questions or whatnot. Any questions out there, guys? We're going to give it 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Yeah, I'm about spent too, man.
I know, right? This whole market and everything, it just wears you down a little bit,
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't see any questions just yet. Joe, you got any final thoughts, man?
Oh, really? Just everyone hang in there. This too shall pass, and we're all here together. You can reach out to JR or myself. If you need a little positive kick in the butt, we'll get you.
Yeah, exactly.
We haven't been through this exact scenario, but I don't know. Just looking at our past history of our country and the world, people have been through all kinds of trauma and things. And I'd rather be, there's a few memes out there that are kind of funny about, our grandfathers went to war, and the only thing, we are at war with this virus, but the only thing that's being asked of us, of our country, is to sit our ass on the couch, So I think if our country's only asking me to stay in my house, I think I can do that, to help the country and help other people. And also, it's going to be a new world when this is over. I don't think things are just going to be different for a while regarding the supply chain. I think there will be, some people that exploit the, capitalism and come out with their own manufacturing and do things, in country here. I let the, Chinese Communist Party, I think it's over. I don't know who's going to trust them, or who's going to, or how long it's going to take China to get the wheels turning again, to start producing, to start putting product out.
Yeah.
And, those contracts, it's going to be a different world. Let's say you're making widgets now, and you go back to work making widgets. Okay, you're a steel manufacturer, you're aluminum manufacturer, whatever material that you were using, are they still going to be in business? Is that contract still valid? The people in the steel mill or the sheet metal fabrication place, are there key people? Did they pass away from this thing? Are they going to have to, what type of brilliant minds, old school people, baby boomers, guys in their 60s and 70s that knew whatever particular industry, are they going to be around, or are they just going to, go and retire now and not go back into the workforce?
Right.
So that's going to happen to every industry, every single thing out there. We're going to be retooling from scratch, and supply chains and contracts, and and then the contracts that you he had with his guys. He's still leaving his business, especially small businesses.
Yeah.
Mom and pop, his kids still got to eat. He might be running an Uber, so I don't know. He might be.
I think you're right though. Is that this teaches us a lesson, because a lot of our pharmaceuticals come from China, and I think right now this is going to probably create a health boom, so to speak, in the market. That's probably going to be coming up, and not only that, but I think with all this, more people are working at home. I think you're going to see a boom in that. So anything that streams or video conferencing wise, any of those companies, I think that's going to be a huge boom coming up. But I will say this, Joe, I put your link to your Patreon channel in the link in the channel. So guys, I mean, I'm not trying to pump this, okay, but I trust Joe. I love his charts, love the guy to death. So hey, there's his link. Give him a shot. Check it out, and hey, you've obviously got my link too. So between the two of us, we got this thing figured out. Okay.
Yeah. I appreciate you doing that. You didn't have to do that.
Nah, it's my pleasure, buddy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're pretty much done here for the night. Joe, I appreciate you coming in, and dude, we'll do it again soon. Let's figure out that Zoom conferencing thing. That'll be a much better
we'll do
platform.
That. Yeah, we'll try that next time. I think that'll be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, good deal, ma'am. You take care. I appreciate you coming in, and we will talk soon.
Oh, okay.
All right, guys. Have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.